going to start with engagement. I'm just going to cover two pieces for today, because I think they're two that I would focus on for myself and my team. And these are things that I do quite regularly. So I wanted to ask, how quickly after you wake up in the morning do you check your phone? Sounds like an odd question, but there's a very deliberate reason for asking it. So how quickly after you wake up in the morning do you start looking at your phone? Answers in the chat box, please. We'll give that a second or two. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, immediately. Okay, so when I get to work, that's good. All right, so there's usually 5 minutes or so. Now, the reason I ask is because there's a lady called Professor Gloria Mark. She's a professor of informatics in Berkeley University, and she talks about this habit of distraction. And so what tends to happen is, I'm sure for all of us, we look at these devices and we start seeing little red numbers next to icons, and we get drawn into that world with WhatsApp, Slack, messages, emails, and so on. And what we now are starting to understand is that it drags the brain into distraction. And what Gloria has managed to do by tracking people's PCs is in an office environment anyway, every 3 minutes, people get distracted, and it takes over 20 minutes to get back to the job at hand. Now, the problem is that when people get distracted and then go back to the task at hand, they unconsciously speed up and they start producing stress chemicals. And cortisol, which is one of the chemicals that's produced when we're a bit stressed, inhibits oxytocin, which has a negative impact on our ability to collaborate and work well with other people. Now, here's the thing. With virtual workers, what I tend to find is that they have their connected technology on all of the time. So they'll have Slack running pretty much constantly, whatever other instant messaging platform that you're using in-house. We have Favro. We have a number of tools just in our organization that ping you messages regularly. And so the problem is that is that people are in this constant state of distraction, and it unconsciously increases their stress level. So that negatively impacts things like well-being, productivity, the quality of productivity, collaboration, and engagement. So this is why I wanted to focus on engagement, particularly today. So I wanted to share with you a really fascinating kind of story from the Navy SEALs. It's Jamie Wheel who did the original story. So the SEALs in America had a bit of a problem every time they went overseas. They were determined to speak the local language. It's part of their value system. It helps them build rapport with the locals and create, gather intelligence and so on and so forth. When they went to Afghanistan, they found that it took them up to 6 months to learn the language. And the American military, as you can imagine, weren't happy that these very expensive assets were sitting basically in a school. So what they did is they put these guys into sensory deprivation chambers, which are basically like big, giant plastic eggs full with saline water. So your body just floats naturally. The water is exactly at body temperature, so you lose all physical sensation. When they close them, they're pitch black and dark and totally quiet. And they put the individuals into a deep meditative state. What then occurred is they started teaching them the local language. I think it's Pashtun. And what happened was, instead of taking 6 months to learn the language, it only took 6 weeks. So this is really, really important. And this problem of distraction and lack of engagement is answered by this experiment that was done. And okay, Abby, we'll see you soon, all right? And the truth of the matter is our hunter-gatherer brain was never designed for this kind of multitasking world that we're in. Our brain is at its best when it's focused on a singular task. It's a really, really important message for you and your teams. And this really proves that as soon as the brain is focused, it can do extraordinary things like learn a language in 6 weeks rather than 6 months. So I highly recommend the book Deep Work. So flow and deep work and deliberate practice, which are 3 slightly different variations of something that's very similar, which is this sense of being immersed in a singular activity, is profoundly important. Now, what do I mean by deep work? Basically, it is focused for between 40 minutes to 60 minutes without any distraction whatsoever. No phone in the room, no connected technology switched on at all. You're just focused on a task at hand. And if a lot of your team are engineers and coding and stuff like that, then they've already got a high cognitive load. And it's really important that they understand that these tools, which are brilliant, also have a downside. So 40 minutes, zero distraction, high intensity work. And what that does is it improves productivity. It improves a personal sense of achievement. All of us get to the end of the day and think, blimey, I've not achieved anything. It improves our kind of stress resilience and reduces stress and anxiety. It improves morale, improves well-being. And as I said earlier, our brain was not designed for 21st century work. Now we'll stop there and just ask everyone, does anyone practice deep work right now? Is anyone practicing deep work right now?